My name is Cody Anderson, and I'm joined by Jordan. Jordan, your title's not on here.
That's interesting. I was wondering, it made me type in my name and stuff again, which it doesn't normally do.
See, it had me do that as well. And so we're using Riverside right now. And I want to get into this immediately, jump right off the bat, because we're going to talk about content creation one of these days and how we've gone about it, our experiences, what we've been using, the problems, the struggles. And I want to preface all of this by that's not what we're talking about today. That's what we're going to be talking about probably next week, I think. It would be a good topic for us to jump into talking about all of our different content production, how we've basically gotten better at, hey, I got the Nextgo webcam, I've got, a ring light now, all of these different products that we've got, the different systems we've tried to use. I think that would make a really good topic. But today's topic, what are we chatting about today, Jordan?
The topic that we've been meaning to talk about for a couple times now, I believe. Let me double check and look over here because I did just get the notes up. Yeah, so I am correct. It is the topic we've been meaning to talk about a little bit. That's the passive income lie. What the myth about it is? Is it even possible?
Yeah, we've talked about passive income. We've talked about like side hustles and stuff like that. I always find it funny. So when we're chatting like this, we're both in front of webcams, right? And I watch you look over to the side and like look up, and I just know you've got that giant freaking monitor. For me, like I think you can tell I'm like leaned back in my chair very much. I'm not like sitting straight up. So when I look over, I'm already kind of looking up. But in general, yeah, exactly.
Let me just look up there. Don't let anybody see my Detroit Lions pajama pants I have on.
You're like, don't let them see the pants.
Yeah. Did the Lions win yesterday? Oh, this is the one time I'm actually potentially going to show like underneath my waist here. Don't let them see the pajama pants.
I feel like that's universal for anyone who works from home, though. But did the Lions play yesterday?
Yeah, they played yesterday. They won.
How'd they do?
They won. It wasn't a fun game to watch, though. It's a team that we should have just beat the brakes off of, and they were beating us for most of the game.
Dang. So it's one of those you felt like you were behind the literal whole time.
We pretty much tied it up in the last quarter, went into overtime, and then won it in overtime. So they were beating us for 3/4 of the game, and then in like the last like 20% of the game, we tied it and then beat them after regulation.
But isn't that exactly the kind of win? Well, it's not a win that you want, but like that's a good feeling win. Isn't that the type of game you want to watch?
If it was against a good team, that would have been real. That would have felt really good. But it was a game that like we should have been dominating from kickoff, and we did not look very good. And this is also riding off of a few other things going on with the Lions, where like they just like we've been like win a game, lose a game, win a game, lose a game. It's like we need to consistently win games, and then we're just not looking good. Like our offense has been like the side of the ball that's supposed to be like our strength, and it looks like it's like the weakest part of us right now. And I don't know.
Things are not working out well. What's the big catalyst for change? Because we were doing really well last year, weren't we?
So in the off season, yeah. So the past 2 seasons have been arguably 2 of the greatest seasons in Lions history. We won, like we were the number 1 seed in the NFC, which means of half the teams, we were the best going into the playoffs. And then, but we lost right away in the playoffs. The season before that, we had gotten to the playoffs for the first time in like 10 years and then won our first playoff game in my lifetime. It was the first time we'd won a playoff game in my lifetime. That was 2 years ago. We actually won 2 playoff games, and we were 1 game away from the Super Bowl. We were winning for the first half of that game, and then we lost the second half of it and didn't go to the Super Bowl.
So we were so close. We were doing so well. What changed? Like, did we lose players? Lose coaching? Like, what happened?
So you're talking about this season, why it's looking so rocky, and that comes. We've lost some. So our biggest strength was our offensive line. Like those big guys up front that protect your quarterback. We had probably the best in the league for like 2 or 3 years there, and so we were riding off that really well. One of our key points retired. We let one of them go in free agency to a different team. And then on top of that, our entire so you have a coach, you have like your Dan Campbell, your coach, and then he's got like sub coaches, basically. You call those coordinators. You have one for the offense, one for the defense, one for special teams. We had a offensive coordinator and our defensive coordinator. So basically, our two biggest quote unquote sub coaches is like I feel like would be the best way to call them. Both left to go take coaching jobs at other teams, like head coaching jobs at other teams. Now
Oh,
that's what happens. That happens all the time in the NFL. Like you can't be mad at them for doing that. We, however, this was the first year that they let them do interviews for those positions while they were still coaching our team. They were still coaching our team in the playoffs. They were in the playoffs. They went and did head coaching interviews during our bye week in the playoffs, meaning like we had a week off, and they took that time to go interview at other coaching positions. They were pretty much 1 foot out the door in the playoffs last season, and that really upset a lot of the fan base. One
that
of
sounds
them went and took
awful.
the
I'm
job in
sorry,
New
you
York.
froze on me here, and that might just be me.
No,
Total frozen. Let's double check here.
I look good on my end. You look good on my end.
Okay. Sorry, that might have been just a freeze on me, but continue.
Our defensive coordinator, a lot of people don't necessarily think that he deserved a head coaching position. He was all right. Like our defense looked really bad last year, but also like we had almost an entire field of players on injured reserve, meaning that they were out for at least 6 weeks. And so like it was like, okay, these like he's working with scraps right now and he is making do. And so I think that earned him a spot. And like nobody really blamed him too much for going and coaching New York. Now our offensive coordinator, who is being viewed when he was with us as like an offensive genius. He is the things he was doing was crazy and it was awesome. And we loved it and we loved him. He went to our rival in the Bears.
Oh,
We hate him. We hate him.
Wait. So in the playoffs, why did they allow them to go interview?
I don't know. Nobody knows. No, like they were just like, "Yep, this year you can do it," and apparently you can do it. Like that's going forward. That was like how the rules are now. But like it was just like, of course that would happen this year in our year that we are supposed to like the greatest regular season the Detroit Lions have ever had. We lost like 3 games all season. Like it was like the best season we had ever had, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, we get to lose our coaches pretty much in the playoffs
immediately,
yeah.
Which I love hearing about it. So we've mentioned it a couple of different times. I'm drawing attention to Mel in the chat, who's getting us back on topic here. I'm not a sports guy, so when we get the chance, because Jordan, you're a sports guy, you know all of this, and I like hearing about it, mainly because I enjoy the logistics and the hate and anger and frustration
the
and
passion.
all of it. The passion, yeah. Everyone has a lot of passion for sports. And so, like, I can come in with very minimal opinions or thoughts. Like, we hate the Bears. I don't know the Bears, man. Okay, valid. Tell me why you hate the Bears. I don't have a preconceived notion of what the Bears are. And I feel like
so Mel's gonna hate this, but I'm gonna keep talking on it for a
no.
minute.
No. I was segueing. I promise. This is a good one. So, as I segue this into actually talking about marketing related things, what I mean to say is, when you don't have a preconceived notion, you don't know how things are supposed to work. You're a lot more open to figuring them out, and you're a lot more open to like understanding and getting new viewpoints. So, for example, the topic that we're supposed to be talking about, that we're going to get into a little bit today, is passive income and why that's a lie. And that's mainly to tell you, like, hey, you can have a lot of passion, you can have a lot of energy for these side hustles, these incomes, and all of that. But at the end of the day, it is a lot of work, and it's not actually just passive income. You have to put time, energy, and effort. And I don't think that was a good transition. I tried.
No, maybe I interrupted it. I don't know. I was gonna go back and keep talking about football.
Which, to be fair, and I wanna address this like as a group, because we're new to content, we're new to all of this. It's Thanksgiving week. If you're having Thanksgiving, if you're not having Thanksgiving, if you're not doing anything, too bad, that sucks. But I would hope that you do something for Thanksgiving. Be thankful for something. Spend some time like actually thinking about the stuff around you. For me, I'm really thankful for my team. I'm spending a lot of time this week being like, hey, we put a lot of time, energy, and effort into these projects. We had that accountability chat. What was it, 2 weeks ago? And I feel like we've done a lot since that chat about like, hey, let's hold each other accountable. Let's be doing these things to improve ourselves. And we've put so much effort in. So I'm just really thankful for that. And I think moving forward, people need to find some things that they're thankful for. Definitely talk about that. Don't be thankful for your passive income because it doesn't exist. Unless you're a landowner, I guess.
Like here's the thing. You're like, don't be thankful for your passive income because it doesn't exist. And I'm like, listen, we're on the Joey Matterhorn chat. We're on the Joey Matterhorn podcast. We have Joey Matterhorn in the chat right now saying he loves passive income.
The
We got
big
to be really, really careful to not argue against the boss man here because he seems to think it's real when our whole topic right now is about how it's a myth.
Well, the thing is, and it's worth noting, I'm pretty sure that's probably Sam. If it's actually Joe in here, I'd be pretty happy. I'd love to have Joe come in and chat with us again. But the main myth that we're talking about, and the main thing that you want to get across is that when people say passive income, it's not ever passive. Like you can make money while you're asleep. I think that's like the other way that they say it. Make money while you're asleep. Make money while you sit on the beach and drink your Mai Tais and stuff like that. And like that is possible. It does not happen without a lot of work and initial setup, though.
So I think a lot of people, yeah, they recognize that like passive income means like I don't have to be sitting at whatever I'm doing to make money for it to make money. But it's like, yes, you don't have to be sitting at it 24/7 to be making money from it 24/7. But there will still have to be time that you sit down at the computer, at the station, at whatever it is that you are doing to make that become passive.
Yeah. So I have not a tangent, and this does come back. So I apologize, Mel, for maybe heading off on this. But have you heard of the concept of flow state?
Yeah.
When I say flow state, what does that mean to you?
To me, it's like essentially hitting like what's what I want to say, like your productivity gets in a point where it's almost autonomous.
Yeah.
Where it is like you don't even have to think about it for it to kind of just be getting done.
Yeah. So I had a really good conversation with Eric Beta. He's been on here a couple of different times this past weekend, where we talked about how do I put this?
Yeah, we keep hitting ourselves into little corners where we got to figure out how we want to talk.
Well, it's talking. So I'm talking about flow state, and I want to bring this back to the idea of like when you're entering a flow state, or what I consider to be a flow state, is when you're able to continuously be in movement and getting things done or accomplishing tasks without necessarily feeling the need to pause, stop, or in other ways like get impacted. So when you're in a flow state, it's like you're watching your mom clean and they're wiping out the counter, they're going task to task, they're pulling out the vacuum cleaner and plugging it in, but they don't start doing that right away because they're picking up the floor while they're also doing it and wiping down the counter. And they're in this state where they're doing a bunch of different things at the same time and kind of accomplishing a bunch of different tasks.
Like in reference, probably only a few people will actually catch, but I know it pertains to you or not you and I. You look at like the show that we've been watching, Pluribus on Apple TV, where it's like, oh, it's I get that it's different because it's like a hive mind situation, but then you watch how the world kind of almost operates in this situation. It's like, oh, that's a flow state because it's like, oh, they just walk and hand it off.
Yeah,
and does it, and it's just constantly working.
Exactly, and so it's the idea of like, hey, all of the work that needs to get done is getting done in a constant motion. So when we were discussing this originally, and the whole reason I wanted to talk about flow states is you don't just enter a flow state. Normally it is not like, oh, I have entered flow and now I am here. You plan for it. You set it up. You are going into it with the idea of, hey, I need to vacuum and wipe down the counters and reorganize the cupboards. So you know what you're going to do? Make sure that your vacuum is running, making sure that you have all of your cleaning supplies so you don't need to source them from 4 different rooms or stop and go to the store, and that everything in your shelves that needs to be organized is ready to go. You have a trash can ready to toss out whatever you might need to toss out. You have the things set up ahead of time. It's almost like you're pre-planning to enter the flow state.
Preparation.
Exactly, you're preparing for it. And so when we were discussing this, Eric and I, we were talking about the idea of flow state is not something that you generally just get to enter. You're not like, oh, I entered flow and it was great. You plan for entering flow state. You plan for entering those moments. And so bringing that back to passive income, you need to do a lot of planning for that passive income because otherwise it's going to be a lot more active income.
In college, I used to try and shoot to try and unlock that flow state, and I found the key for it. And I probably shouldn't say this on the podcast. Adderall.
Being able to focus when you have ADHD. Oh, go figure.
Yeah, it's the key to open up your flow state.
Well, to be fair, the main thing to get away from is the idea of like, hey, if you're juggling a whole bunch of spoons, if you're, for example, a small business owner, and you're like, hey, I'm focused on providing my service. It's really hard to think about doing marketing because you don't know how to set it all up. When you don't know how to set up ads, you don't know what a meta business suite is. When you don't know any of the like logistics that go into socials, you can't enter a flow state and just get all of your social posts set up, which is I think where I'm trying to lead this to is the idea of like, hey, what you don't know is what prevents you from entering a flow state, as opposed to working with a marketing agency or working with people who do marketing, because we can enter a flow state and we've done it a million times. I think of a direct example of the massage book setup. We have a massage therapist client for Good Rep Media, and setting things up in their POS, their point of sale, is difficult. But once you know how to do it, and once you've done it a few times, it is very easy to ideate what needs to happen. Hey, I want to create a series. I want to create a discount. I want to create a promotion, blah, blah, blah. Go in, enter the flow state, and then get it done, because I don't need to think about it. I don't need to prep because I've already prepped all that knowledge. It's almost like you did all the studying for the test beforehand. So when the test comes up, you don't have to study because you actually did all of the work during that semester. I know neither of us ever did that, right?
College life hack. College life hack. You can cheat on a test by learning the answers by studying your textbook.
Not even kidding. That's the biggest life hack ever. You can answer every single question on a test if you study and you learn what.
Yeah, if you just learn the knowledge, you can answer any question, and there's your life hack.
Boom. But okay, so in the chat, Joey Matterhorn wants to know, what's the biggest myth you can see about passive income? What do you think one of the biggest myths
The passiveness of it, like the idea, like we've already kind of addressed the thought that there is something you can do that you can set and forget forever, and then just can consistently make money from it. There will always be a level of interaction that you will have to do.
So then why, if I feel like it's generally well known at this point that none of this passive income is really that passive. Like, we're not creating the wheel here. Why do people still call it passive income? Like,
because there is a level of like there's nothing that's 100% passive, but there are things that are 80% passive. There are things that require very little input that will slowly, or maybe even quickly, depending on how, A, lucky, or B, like, just like, I don't know what word I want to say here is, but like, if you have something that makes you a lot of money fast, great, but like it'll never be something that doesn't require your attention at all. There may be things that require very little of your attention, and those are probably the closest you will get to passive. Yeah. And some people, it's just easier to call it passive at that point.
See, and I think personally, for me, when you talk about passive income, people use passive because it's a buzzword. And how do you feel about buzzwords in general? Because I hate them. I'm very much of the opinion that when people are, like, we talk about keyword stuffing. If you're keyword stuffing with a bunch of buzzwords, I can't trust that you know what you're
talking about. Yeah. So, I mean, like buzzwords, keywords, all that, like, it's like, I think that there's like a level of like, either it's like, oh, these buzzwords will like get your attention and suck you in, and then like as soon as you hit that like little meta level of like knowing like, oh, these are just buzzwords that they're doing for that purpose, then they just don't have that same effect on you. And I think you and I are lucky enough to be in a situation where we recognize those buzzwords as for what they are. I don't hate them. I just recognize, like, when I see them, I recognize them as things that don't have to draw my attention. The thing I don't like about them is I know they have that effect on people who don't recognize that. And that's where it's like, oh, they can be a little, I don't think they're evil though. They're just trying to direct your thought,
I will say, did I say they were evil? If I call them evil,
no, you did not. You did not. You did not. You just said you hated them, and I assumed you hate them because you think they're evil.
I don't only hate evil things. I also do hate, for example, like vanilla bean ice cream.
You're kidding. Like, I'm out. I'm gone. Bye. It's the best ice cream there is.
But it doesn't mean it's awful. But okay, so Melanie in the chat, she wanted to ask, do you think the concept or definition of passive income has changed, and what do you believe influenced that shift the most? So in my opinion, there's a lot of people out there who talk about passive income. There's a lot of people who are in the guru-ish mindset where they're like, hey, I've made this money doing this, and so now here's my course. Take my course. And so what they do is they find a way to make themselves some money. They find, a drop ship that they can do. They find a product that they can learn, and they learn something about it. So for example, we're a small business marketing agency, Good Rep Media. We help small businesses rank on Google. We have a little bit of secret sauce on how that works. These people, when they first figure out drop shipping, they figure out how it works. They figure out how to source, they figure out how to ship, they figure out, how to cut some costs, they make some relationships. Those are real skills and real things to build up and do. The issue comes, those aren't very difficult things to do. They talk about secret sauce, and I'm sitting here like, yeah, get your small business ranked on Google. Our secret sauce is make sure your NAP is the same, your name, address, and phone number. If your name, address, and phone number are the same across all of your media, that's like one of the biggest things that you can do. The secret sauce isn't hard. And I think that's the main thing. Do you notice that? Because a lot of what we do, I wouldn't say there's very much difficulty, but it's just a lot of knowledge that you need to
Um, like, yeah, I think you're right in that. I think knowledge of the topic and the industry that like you're trying to set up your passive, quote unquote, passive income in
have. Mhm.
is going to be the biggest thing. The
Yeah,
more you know about what you're getting into, I think the less work you will have to do in the long run, because
mhm.
the research you would have to do into the topic and the industry is work in and of itself. And
Exactly.
again, every bit of work that you have to do takes away from that passive
The idea of
tag
being
or
passive.
whatever.
It's like 80. You said it. I think you said it really well. You were like, it's like 80% passive, and it's like, okay, well, every single time that you have to do something, it's like now it's 78% passive. Now it's
Yes.
75% passive, and it's like, okay, all of this work that you're putting in up front is a lot of work. So I think one of the most famous is drop shipping. You and I both know a little bit about it. Have you ever done any drop shipping or know someone who's drop
No,
shipped?
I've thought about it. I've thought about looking into it, just like some t-shirts and stuff, like simple things.
Yeah.
But I've never actually done it.
And see, I've been tempted to do something similar, but every time that I've had the thought, it's been for like a very specific product or something like that. And I do know one of our coworkers, Mikey, previously had done some testing with drop shipping with what was it? It was like nutritional products or something like
Mhm.
that. So as a whole process of him buying a course, learning from this course, figuring out the different softwares that he would need to set up these pages, creating the page, creating the funnel for the ads that they would set up, creating the images for the ads, and then creating the follow up emails and text and whatever would come out after people were making that purchase, and then being able to actually make the transactions. That setup, like all of those steps that I just named, are not things that take you terribly long if you know how to do them. But if you've never set up a website before, like how
Mhm.
that's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I tried to think of it myself because I've not set up very many websites in the past couple of years, and I know we've gone through a lot of like updates. It would probably take me a while to set up a new site, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, in our environment, it's there's so much more on top of like like to just
Yeah,
build a website. Yeah, like sure, but then like our environment, we get pulled away to 1,000 different things. But even if we knew we didn't have that, then like there comes like when you build websites, were you doing much with like the metadata? Were you building schema code? Were you like things like that? Um, there's just there's so many levels to everything, and like if you are at a point where it's like I only have to work for an hour out of every week, and I bring in like X amount of dollars by doing that, and it's like, okay, so you have this like semi-passive income going. Could it be better? What happens if you start putting 2 hours of effort towards that? Yeah, it's a little less passive now, but how much is the income? Like what's more important in passive income, the passive or the income? you
well,
know
it's all. I feel like all the ads when they are talking about passive income, it's like your time is worth more than money. Earn your time back by doing passive income, and it's basically trying to sell you because at the end of the day, all of these passive income like ads and things that you're seeing, they're making money off of you. You are the passive income for that guy. So
Yes.
like I can
Yep.
go out there and I can create a course on how to drop ship, and then I try to sell it for $15. Well, every time that course gets bought, I make $15. I made that course. I don't have to keep making the course. The course is created. I just need to go and sell it. And that's the kind of like, passive income that I'm kind of here for. Now, the courses that are here's how to earn passive income, and they're feeding on the lowest common denominator, where it's like, hey, you want to make money, so spend this money so that you can earn my course, and everyone who follows my course does this. I'm over here like, let me buy a course on how to make proxy Magic the Gathering cards really high quality or something like that.
Yeah.
uh, Anyways, there's another comment here. A recent BBC article suggests millennials and Gen Z have reshaped the meaning of passive income since the pandemic. How do you feel about that? So I want to see the article, but
yeah,
I don't think it's passive. Like I'm curious
oh,
what it titles as passive. That's what I normally see, because they always break down when you read an article about passive income about what means passive. So I'd be curious.
I think millennials, Gen Z reshaping the meaning of passive income. If there's truth to that, I think that comes from them just hearing the word, and then like being like, okay, we're gonna make that into a reality or as best as we can. And so like Gen Z, millennials, all of us, we tend to take things and almost make them our own. So it's like, oh, if like even if like the older people saw passive income in one way, that doesn't mean that that's how it is. That's how the old heads see it, And I see that as like every generation kind of views their takes on things as different than the generation before. When ultimately, though, like they can say that it means something different, but they aren't making passive or they aren't making their income passively. They're still putting in just as much work as anyone before them did.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like, so we're making the joke repeatedly. Well, passive income's not passive because it requires all of this.
Well,
I
because
think
that's our
most,
topic right now.
well, well,
That's
and
the topic.
I feel like most millennials and Gen Z also understand that. Hey, cook this thing in 15 minutes. It's not going to take 15 minutes. It's going to take 20 to 30. We do not believe at all ever when someone tells us something on a marketing. Like I think that's a universal thing. Is that just a me thing?
Younger generations have, I think, take things much less literal than older generations do. Which is funny because I think the younger generations are the ones that say literally the most.
Because we mean it when we mean literally.
And
if we don't say literally,
they don't mean it. No, that's the problem. That's the problem. They don't mean it. They say literally and they don't mean it literally. And now all of a sudden they don't take anything literally anymore.
But literally, that's what I mean, Jordan. Come on.
Yeah, literally.
But yeah. So with that, just in general, I feel like if you're Gen Z, if you're millennial, and someone says, "Oh, make this passive income," I don't know that any Gen Z or millennials looking at that and been like, "Oh yeah, passive. I'm not gonna have to do anything." I think we hear that and we all grain of salt it in our head, and we're like, "Okay, passive. It's gonna require some setup, but maybe it will make me money, and I don't need to sit there and look at it." Like, there's that caveat.
What do you think is the closest to a passive income that exists?
Any type of being able to sell courses and stuff like that. When you can create a product, leave that product on a page, and have people go to that page and purchase without you needing to do anything.
I personally think the only real 100% like this is a passive income situation is after years of legwork, elbow grease, all of that to build a company and then become a CEO that can let everything else just like happen. And that's only passive to you. That's not passive to everyone else involved. But to you, you can sit back and watch your bank account go up. Like Jeff Bezos probably, if he stopped doing any involvement with his company, would have a passive income.
Yes, they would all have passive income, and you get to a point where the passive income from the stock market is whatever. Like those are not relevant.
That's a gamble. That's a passive gamble.
I mean, is it a passive gamble when it's literally gone up every single year forever in perpetuity? If you're going to gamble on random stocks, sure, but if you're going to do, S&P 500
Has
or
it
whatever,
been every year forever, every year in existence, or has there been
I,
years
I
where it's gone
actually
down?
think so that it has gone up every single year
Even
in
during,
existence forever. Which,
eh,
hey Mel, if you're listening, let us know about the S&P 500. I'm curious about its history. Give us a little copy paste here because it is in general, and that's one of the issues with capitalism. We don't need to get political here, but when you need to grow every single year in perpetuity forever, that's not plausible or good. It's actually really, really difficult. Like, let's look at Amazon. How is Amazon going to continue to push profits other than pushing other businesses out of there so that you don't spend money on other products? So now other businesses are going out of business. Amazon is just growing and growing, like in
my mom
perpetuity.
and sister-in-law both asked for a Christmas gift this year for some Christmas ideas, and I put together a list and sent it to them. And I was like, "This is all Amazon lists. Like every link on this was an Amazon link." I was like, "I
Yeah.
probably shouldn't do that."
Well, and it's crazy to think about. So personally, I'm looking at things on Amazon when we went over to Eric's for that turkey. He sourced it from a local farmer, and I was like, that's actually sick. Because that money stays in the community. When I go and buy something on Amazon, it doesn't stay in this community. It doesn't stay in Michigan. It goes to wherever the fuck Jeff Bezos is, and it gets distributed to his workers, which are all across the country, including here, because there is Amazon workers in my community. But it's a lot different than spending that money at a mom and pop toy shop
Yeah.
downtown, because when I pay that money to someone downtown, that money stays here, and that money is getting spent repeatedly in our area, which is funding our government, because every single time you spend $10 in Grand Rapids is getting that city tax. We're getting taxed on it, so we're getting more and more. It's a whole process of when you spend money online and you're sending money to foreign communities. Well, I say as though that's not also generally American. Wait. Is it Amazon's international 100%, but are they
Yeah.
based in America?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know enough
Yes.
about Bezos.
Yeah. As far as I know, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's California.
Yeah.
I'm
Ooh,
pretty sure.
sorry. I just saw. I looked over, panned to the notes, and was like, "Oh, this is actually a great example. A vending machine. So a vending machine is almost like passive income. Uh, you find a spot, you put it there, and then you just have to come back and fill it. And so when you have to come back and fill it, it's not really passive. You do have to go in and do the thing, but it's earning money whether you're there or not. You don't need to sit there and look at it. You just need to make sure that it's stocked. You have one
Yeah.
like maintenance task almost. I think it's probably pretty similar to well, I almost wanted to compare it to car washes, because once you have all the like machining in there, you just need to have like one person man the whole thing. But you're also paying bills and you're having expenses and stuff like that. So I don't know if that would necessarily count. Similarly, when you look at like landlords, I feel like landlords
Yeah.
are almost
So
universal for that.
So I think like where it all becomes, and I know this is just a million different ways of saying the same thing we've been saying since the first 5 minutes of this
Hmm.
pod, but like the idea of like set and forget, like setting is actions, like that first part where it's the set and forget. Yeah, forget is passive, set
Hmm.
is not. And
Yeah.
so like you're always going to have to get in there and do that portion to make like you have to do A to make B.
Hmm.
Like you can't have passive income with. So I had something cooked up in my brain, but then as soon as I started saying it out loud, it's like that's not going to sound as smart as I thought it was about.
Isn't that the worst?
Yeah, but yeah, I think I'm onto it though. With set and forget, people keep forgetting that setting is still action. You still
Yeah.
have to do something in that, and then like you'll never be able to set and forget forever. You'll have to reset at some point, and then there's the actions that you have to take again.
Well, exactly, and it's understanding, looking at it from a vending machine option. When you purchase that vending machine and you get it stocked, like that initial setup is usually a lot of work, and that's where these gurus get you. And this is where I think I get into like, okay, this is where it gets evil. Maybe not necessarily sure if it's
Maybe.
evil or not, but when you are selling people an idea and you're like, hey, buy my course so that you can learn all of this, and your whole course is telling them how to do something that doesn't work. When your whole product and everything that you do is purely to get people to buy your courses, you're setting yourself up as a guru, and you don't have an actual like product when you've not actually done the thing. Yeah, I think that's a little bit difficult. A recent article from CNBC on 10 best passive income ideas states that with the S&P 500 dividend yield currently under 1.3%, you'd need more than $700,000 invested to generate $10,000 a year. So
That's tough.
Just saying, if you had $700,000 in there, $10,000 of passive income. But
Mel, can you? What he was asking a little earlier. Can you look and see if the S&P 500 yearly, every single year that it has it been positive by like the end of its fiscal year? Has it been in the green, or has there ever been a year where it's been
the
red?
S&P 500 was down. Yeah, I'm curious.
How long has the S&P 500 been around?
This is where I'm like, we need to hop into like some research and like dive into the Wikipedia page or something.
Yeah, but I had no idea we were going to be talking about this right now.
No, but so I come from a history researcher background. My degree is in history originally, and I wanted to be a librarian. For those of you who didn't know that about me, that's why I like reading and doing research and all of this like nerdy stuff, because I wanted to be a librarian. I hear like, oh, let's research S&P, and it's so difficult for me not to go like Google and deep dive into how all of this works, because it's fascinating. It is relevant to what we do and what we know. Because one, I think I mean, if you have our 401k, I think you're in the S&P 500. You're doing something in there.
Has the S&P was the S&P 500, was that there at the Depression, all the way back that far? No, right?
I mean, I don't think it's been around.
Because like I find it very hard to believe during the Great Depression it was green. But also, I don't even know if it existed, because like I don't know anything about
been around since the Great Depression.
She said a long time. That qualifies to me as a long time ago.
I googled S&P 500 age. It opened in 1957.
57. Okay.
Yeah. So after.
So right on the end of it. All right. So right after it. Gotcha.
Yeah. Which I went
probably
into the original.
Probably in some way in response to the Depression.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to think actually. So I've done a couple of different events in New York, and I think in one of the events that we went to in New York, I got the chance to go into the original like floor of the New York Stock Exchange.
Stock Exchange, yeah.
Yeah, I think I actually got to like go into where they like the first ever room where the New York Stock Exchange was, and now I want to like research where that was at, because
did it have a bunch of tickers around it?
Well, no. So the room was very
back then. It probably didn't, but I feel like now it probably would.
Well, yeah, now it probably would, but right now, it was basically, it reminded me of a casino almost, which is kind of crazy. The walls were like velvety, and there were a bunch of stands and stuff.
Sounds like there's been a couple years where it's been down, but not many.
It has experienced numerous down years. Ooh, okay. I'm curious. So in general, it would be mostly and it's worth noting. So more than anything else,
gambling.
This is actually passive income, and it is gambling generally. But like, if you're going to invest in the stock market, you're generally going to receive some type of return on investment. And I think fundamentally, that is the only passive income. It's the same thing as earning passive income from your bank for holding money in your savings.
It does state that positive annual returns reach approximately 73 to 74% of the time. Oh, okay. So it's saying that it's green around 75% of the time. I thought for a second she was saying you yielded 75% back. I was like, then how did you only get $10,000 from a $700,000 investment?
It was like, we're doubling money here, man.
Yeah, I was about to be like, I'm about to invest every dollar I have into it.
And I mean, hey, sometimes getting invested is good.
I wouldn't do 401k. I would have my money going into that. Is what I would be doing.
So, not to blow your mind here, but your 401k does go into that. That's what your 401k does. Is it gets put into the S&P 500.
S&P 500? I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
Well, you get to choose technically. So the way I understand it, and I'm not a stock guy, so anyone listening to this, not stock advice. This is Good Rep Media Stocks with the agency team. But S&P 500 is just the 500 best performing companies of any given year. And so you can fall in and out of the top 500, whatever. But you're basically investing into a portfolio. Like it's a folder. So it's a folder of those 500 companies. And so when you invest in it, you invest in that folder, and that folder changes. But overall, that folder of 500 companies goes up and to the right.
I don't get how that works. Like if like you invest into it and then like a company leaves it, does it like pull your investment out of that and put it into something else?
I assume so. I'm not like again, I'm not a
Yeah,
financial
I get
guy.
it. I get it.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty
this is
sure.
just me kind
I,
of thinking out loud.
I will say I I know that this is how it functions. So I know that the S&P 500 is the 500 best performing company. I can't say best. It's 500 companies. And so you invest in those 500 companies, and every year, might even be every month, might be every day. If one of them sucks, it gets kicked out, and another one gets put in. So like that bottom, it's like if you ever played League of Legends and you had leaderboards, you were trying
Yeah,
to
it's your
make it
top 500.
challenger with enough LP. You're trying to make it
Yeah,
to the S&P 500 because if you're in it, you get a bunch of crap.
I had a friend in the Korean servers of Overwatch. He lived in South Korea for a while there, and he was top 500 in Korean Overwatch, which is,
Man,
if you know anything
that's
about it,
insane.
is a much harder spot to get top 500 in than the U.S.
Yeah. Anyways, to kind of bring this back around and to maybe push us along towards the finish line here, I do want to dive into some realistic steps. If you want to set up some type of recurring revenue, some passive income, I think the best thing that you can do is focus on one idea and figure out all steps of it. Because the main thing that you're doing with passive income is figuring out how to do all of the setup quickly, easily, and with as little hassle as trouble or as possible so that you're able to actually enter the flow state of just making money. So the sooner you can figure out all of that intro stuff. If you're going to do drop shipping, figure out your supplier, figure out shipping, figure out your website, figure out your branding, figure out how to do ads. Do all of that initial setup work, and then you're just going to repeat it. And you're going to repeat it multiple times every single time it goes down. Once you've got one idea, you got it all nailed down, and you're kind of, iterating on it because, none of this is passive. You're iterating on that idea every single time. Document it and hire someone to do it for you. And that's how you make a company.
Oh yeah.
At least
Oh
that's
yeah.
generally how I think about it.
Cody, have you? I know you've mentioned a few times here, really quick. You've mentioned a few times like card shops and stuff like that, or like doing things with cards to kind of
Oh
do
yeah.
passive income. Like if you could just snap your fingers and have like all the in working set up and in place, and then all you had to do is like do like a little bit here and there to keep it going, as we've talked about. What would be your dream passive income?
My dream. So that this is where it like ends up in a false spot because I like work at least to some degree. So like I enjoy interacting with customers. I enjoy interacting with people. I enjoy coming up with plans and doing new ideas and stuff like that. I don't like getting down there in the weeds and, making those edits on the site and copying, pasting and stuff like that. So for me, I don't want a completely passive income. I want to set up all of the back end stuff so that I can just show up and do a thing. So like Joe, Joe is talking about the credit influencer stuff right now. He wants to kind of be a credit influencer, but he wants to turn it extremely passive to where he can show up, sit in a chair, talk for an hour, get up, and go leave. And that's where I would like to get to on pretty much anything, where it's I'm able to kind of sit down, do the thing that I want to do, and then get up and be done with it without needing to worry
Yeah.
about all the initial setup. So, for example, I really enjoy making YouTube videos right now. I like Magic the Gathering, so I make Magic the Gathering YouTube videos for myself. I have a system set up where I can record a new video. I sit down, I can get a recording, all my stuff set up. It takes me like 2 seconds. I don't need to think, and then I can enter a flow state, get a full video recorded, and get it uploaded, and do all of this stuff because I know how it's done without thinking about it. None of that's passive. Literally none of it's passive. I'm recording the video, I am making the content, I am on camera, I am, shooting whatever. But for me, that initial setup of I needed to create the channel, create all the socials, I needed to do all of this, that's like the active setup, whatever. That's all done. Now I just sit down, I record a video, and it gets uploaded.
Yeah. So
That's
I've talked about it before. Like I don't really watch like podcasts or like a whole lot of like live streamers or anything, but there is like a World of Warcraft streamer that I like to watch who's like his whole thing is like I just do various things to make gold in the game. Here's a gold guide that I have. This is like a book that I put out that like here's the places I go to farm it, here's how I farm it, like what I sell it for, stuff like that. A whole complete guide. You go watch him live, and then at the beginning and end of every single one he does, he says, "Hey guys, go buy my gold guide."
Yep.
And that goes along with like what you've talked about, these people who like will sell courses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think about that because it's like, yeah, now all he has to do is go play a video game that he likes to play. That even if he wasn't streaming it, he would be playing it, and then just say, "Buy my thing," and like that. That's as passive as I think it really gets. He's doing what he would do anyways. He's still doing things. You have to still do things, but they are things that you would do anyway, and then you find a way to make that into money.
Yeah, and that's a really, really good one. And honestly, I'm over here like, wait. How do I get myself like write up going on? Should I be writing articles? And
maybe it wouldn't be a bad idea. Maybe like you put together like just put together like a PDF guide. Let's just go through ChatGPT. Be like, hey, here's like the cards that I'm looking for. Here's the packs. Here's a breakdown of what you get. Like, and then like you have yourself like a collector's guide of like, oh, I can go to this page and like, oh, here's the different cards I'm looking for. A very easy breakdown of like what I'm ripping packs looking for. Here's the cost to risk ratio, whatever.
Yeah,
things like
I
that.
know. Really, really similar to that, which I think is super funny. So there's another video game that I played, Path of Exile. There's a guy named Pops. So he's a content creator for Path of Exile, but he owns his own website. And so he runs a website and he keeps a website put together for new players on one specific build. He's the Righteous Fire guy. It's like, I do Righteous Fire, I do it all the different ways. It's a really fun build. New players always like it because it's really easy. So he created a website dedicated to every aspect of Righteous Fire. This is how you craft your amulet. This is how you craft your scepter. This is how you craft your blah, blah, blah. Here's why you're doing all of this stuff. Here's a giant FAQ. And so what he does is he streams, and then he has, AdSense on his website. And so he's like, hey, go check out my website. Go check out all this stuff. Be in there.
Yeah. Yeah, find a niche, find a way to like make a product out of that niche, and then just promote it on a stream that you're like, if you have viewers that are people watching you on something related to it, it's the perfect platform to then promote it.
Yeah, I think that would be my go-to. What about you? Would you be similar?
I think I would be similar. Yeah, I think gaming guides and like gaming tutorial things like that would be really cool for me. I think I would like that. I used to be someone who was like, oh, I would love to live stream and have people watch me play and interact with chat and get donations. And it's like, no, I don't when I watch my personality back, I wouldn't donate to it. So like, it's hard for me to like watch it and be like, oh, that's what I want to do. But I think if I kind of like talked about, if I gave value, if there was like actual value to be had in what I was talking about, then I think I would, because I have to believe in myself to think I'm worth any money. Like if I don't think what I'm giving is worth money and it's still bringing in money, I'm gonna have a hard time doing it. But if I'm like, oh, I believe in what I'm saying is giving value to people, then I would be very happy to sell my product. And so yeah, gold guides on WoW or just any guides in any video game that I feel like I'm pretty good at, I think would be really cool.
I think that being able to provide value is a difficult one for me because I'm of the same mindset, especially coming from where we are at as like a marketing agency. We exist to provide value. I grade our whole performance on direct value. Are you ranking better? Are you getting more calls? Are you are you getting more business? Those are very obvious, basic questions that I'm asking and trying to get answers. Sorry, I'm getting feedback now.
You're getting feedback?
Yeah. It's like your audio thing might off, so I'm hearing my voice through yours.
Oh no.
I don't know how that happened. I think your audio input might have changed. No?
No, you can't change your audio input mid.
Oh.
Yeah. Webcam. Oh wait, no, it did switch me to my webcam.
You're like, wait, did I get a blood?
I don't know what happened, but yeah, it switched me over to my webcam all of a sudden.
Okay.
I think maybe my mic became unplugged and it switched me. I know the solution would be to unplug my webcam, and like it'll switch me back to the other one, and then just plug the webcam back in. But we're also in like the final 10 minutes.
We are.
So Cody, if you want to just like give us a closing thoughts here, and I'll mute.
He mutes himself. Perfect. I appreciate it. Let me get all prepped up here. Remember, guys, my name is Cody Anderson, and I was joined by Jordan Vogel. We both work for Good Rep Media. We are a small business marketing agency. If you are brand new here, if you're a small business owner, if you want to become a small business owner, if you know a small business owner, this might be the podcast for them to listen to. We help small businesses rank better on Google. We help small businesses get customers through their doors. We help small businesses get more leads. If that's something you want to talk about, if that's something you're interested in, if that's something that you have any questions or concerns, you want to get some like input or anything like that, come schedule with me at goodrep.media. If you come to that, you fill out the form, I will reach out to you, and I would love to chat with you about your small business. We help small businesses all over the place. We help lawn care companies, massage therapists. We help everything, the whole gamut of businesses. So I would love to chat with you. I'd love to hear from you, and let's make some time. But with that, thanks so much for joining Jordan and I on this episode of Lunch with the Boys. Do join us tomorrow at noon on the Good Rep Media YouTube channel, where we're going to be live talking about how we went viral, which is pretty sick. Yeah, I know. We went trying to create like a flashing strobing light. I actually love it. But join us tomorrow. We're going to talk about that a little bit. It should be a good time, and I hope you guys have a absolutely phenomenal Thanksgiving. Make sure, remember, we talked about what you're thankful for. If you're thankful for someone, tell them that you're thankful for them. We're all human here. Communication is important. But thanks so much for joining us on the live today, guys. And we'll see you tomorrow.